So, about a year ago, I made a point of saying that there is an impending genocide against trans people. And a bunch of people, some of them leftists, most of them leftists, told me it wasn't going to happen. And just today, apparently, experts announced that we are indeed seeing a genocide of trans people. So I recognize that for a lot of you guys, it's not very important. But if you go to my page and you wonder why I'm not talking about all of the bullshit that's happening in this world right now, all of the various things that are happening right now, and I'm just making videos of me dancing and enjoying myself and being cute and being sexy, it's literally because I have spent the past 20 years of my life making content about this shit, talking very clearly about all of the various things that we're seeing right now. You know, women losing the right to control their own bodies. You know, this even goes back to the Bush era. These people who put us into wars because they want oil, right? Like, and every step of the way, I'm told that I'm crazy. Every step of the way, I'm told that it's not reasonable, or I'm just being a woke scold, or I'm being really sensitive, and yada, 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 yada. Look, I know for a fact that as a person who's been publishing content on the internet for, decades at this point, I am occasionally wrong about things. But you know what? There's been a lot of things I've not been wrong about that I was harassed for. So seriously, if you see me enjoying myself, recognize that I am in the middle of living in a way where I'm trying to entertain this idea that I deserve to do more than defend myself. I deserve to do more than try to talk about these things and then be harassed for it by people who are apparently on my side. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. That's why I'm taking a lot of this less seriously, you guys. And you know what? I'm applying myself in a completely different way because I've recognized that if there's one reason why I'm here, it's to create, it's to be who I am, it's to teach other people about that, but not because it's my obligation, not because I made a video essay, but by just living. And living is something that I haven't really been able to do, that I haven't really allowed myself to do because I've spent so much time trying to sound the fucking alarm. And at this point in my life, I can't ignore the fact that no one's coming for me, except for me. So, yeah.
Genocide scholars have rang the bell that the United States is in the early to mid stages of a genocidal process against trans, gender diverse, and non-binary folks. When people think of the word genocide, they think mass killings. The definition of genocide is the eradication of a group of people from existence. So what these scholars are pointing to is a systematic process that the United States has been engaged in since January 20th to eliminate trans folks as a recognized group by law. A legal genocide, if you will. So the idea is to build a legal and administrative reality where trans folks don't exist on paper, and then use that paper reality to control their lives. IDs that no longer reflect their gender marker, limiting their access to medical care. School policies that restrict their name use, pronoun use, bathroom use, and sports that they can play. And policies narrowing the definition of sex to male and female, invalidating their very identities. People call this erasure because it pushes trans folks out of employment situations, housing, education, healthcare, travel safety, family stability, and all without a single act of violence. Ultimately, when the law refuses to recognize a group of people, the legal consequences are just as brutal as a physical genocide. So what can we do? As allies, it's not enough to just say that we'll show up, that we'll stand by you, that we'll march. We have to make sure that trans folks get the legal protections that they need, whether it means starting GoFundMes for people in your life or donating to trans advocacy groups. If you're trans, gender diverse, or non-binary, you have to do the unsexy stuff of getting your legal documentation in order. Fighting legal genocide with legal documentation. Making sure your documents match your lives. That you lock in who can make medical decisions for you, who can make legal financial decisions for you, and who has authority over your life. ultimately getting those protections now and not in a crisis when you're forced to. And if you've been contemplating leaving the United States, when shit's on fire is not the time to get your go bag ready. So now more than ever, it will be easy to get asylum from the countries that have been offering it. So we're no longer at the point where we need to be warned about what's coming. It's here. We need to understand it and know what we can do about it.
So that woman that ICE murdered today was a lesbian. Renee Good was a lesbian. And the reason that this matters is because, number one, her wife was in the car with her when it happened. Number two, shortly after, her wife gave a distraught interview to a reporter in which she mentioned, we have a 6-year-old who's in school right now. Like, I have to go pick our 6-year-old up from school. After this, the child's grandfather gave an interview to the news. This would either have been Renee's father or the father of that child's biological father. It's unclear from the context clues. That child's grandfather gave an interview to the news in which he said, I'm going to have to fly to Minneapolis to pick up my grandchild who has nobody left. There's nobody left for them. That child's other mother is still there. She's still there. That child was in a stable, loving, married 2-parent home, and the second parent is still there. That child's grandfather is now clearly intent on trying to rip this child away from their remaining mother after they lost their other mother today. This is why it matters that Renee Good was a lesbian. Because if she hadn't been, this situation would not be happening. This is the exact situation that I, by the way, have been talking about for the past 2 years, telling people if Donald Trump is elected, I am going to lose my rights. They say, what rights? What rights are you talking about? What rights have you lost? What rights are in danger of yours? The right not to have your child taken when your spouse is murdered by the government. Do not let this part of the story get swept under the rug. Okay? That's what they want. Don't let it get swept under the rug. This is an additional atrocity happening after, again, the murder of a United States citizen by the United States government. And now they're going to try to take her child. Do not let this part of the story die. Talk about it. Be loud about it. It matters. It matters that Renee Good was a lesbian. It matters that her child's grandfather is now trying to take that child away from their home. It matters not only to that family, but it matters, I guarantee you, to people that you know and love. Even if you don't know that it matters to them, we look around and we say, this could be us. This could happen to me. So don't let this part get swept under the rug.
This probably isn't the most woke thing to say, but I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Black trans folks in Minneapolis and Minnesota, go home. Advocate from home. Don't divest from being involved in what's happening, but I beg you, please get off the front lines. There is no money to pay for a funeral. They literally are signaling a clear genocide towards our community. Like scholars are saying it's been implemented since January 20th of last year. Be the person who's leading the calling tree, the person who's making sure there's food and water together for folks. Please go home. Because as absurd as this conversation around Renee is, if this was a black trans person, would nobody be saying anything? Like, I know a part of the flow of this conversation is based in it being about a white woman at the center of it. And so, go home. Let your activism be today that you're going to be here tomorrow.
There's battle lines being drawn. Nobody's right if everybody's wrong. Young people speaking their mind.